What's going on, everybody? It's your boy ChemDrumz here with a YouTube video. Kind of wanted to give a behind the scenes of the production. I had an album that came out earlier this year in June 2025 called Let It Walk. Wanted to expose the Haitian culture with the music genre of compa with the rest of the world. And I definitely want to say thanks to everyone who's been listening to the album and supporting in every way possible. Definitely well appreciated with that. So the objective of this week's video, I just wanted to kind of give a behind the scenes of production of the songs, of how they all came together, how they all came about. And I figured it might be interesting to some people who are into this kind of stuff. So I wanted to, dive into that and then go from there. So without further ado, we'll go into the track. We're gonna do the first track, which is the sound check. That's track number 1 on the album. We'll do that, and then we'll go from there. So here we are inside of Logic Pro. That's the DAW that I use to produce, sequence, record, mix, and master. I also have Pro Tools as well, but Pro Tools I'll use if I have to. I used to like Pro Tools. I still do. I think it's cool, but I've just gotten so much comfortable in Logic Pro, and I've just been using that straight up. Even when I was doing remixes with Remix Kings, I was always using Logic, and it just kept going from there. So yeah. So here we are. This is the first track, sound check. The idea of this track came from when you see a lot of Haitian bands perform, particularly in the HMI or even in the gospel music industry and Haitian music. Most bands, they tend to do a sound check. They should do it hours before they perform, but what happens is they tend to do it minutes before they perform. So that'll become part of their set. And it's kind of been accepted in the Haitian culture, in the Haitian community, because it just shows, I guess, what they're working with, or you can say like a preview of what they've been doing. So with that, I've always just thought, I'm like, okay, let me just, since I'm doing an album of compa, I just wanted to give that aspect of a sound check as well, just to set the tone of the album, and which is what the bands are doing. They're setting a tone for their performance. So I wanted to go with that idea. This track in particular came from the idea. Shout out to my boy Ancy Deuce with Greater Purpose. Shout out to them. He had a song already that was released called where he did a remix, a compa remix to Kumama. So I took the ideas of that. Forgive the background noise. What's going on outside my window? People are working, so. But if you take stuff like the keys, and then here, I can show you Angelo. Shout out to my boy Angelo, Young Christian. Shout out to them. These are his vocals.
Kumama, kumama, kumama.
You know what I'm saying?
Kumama, kumama, kumama. Madi e Yahweh, e Yahweh, e Yahweh, e Yahweh. Le matin la me lever, avant m'aller coucher.
So with that's the idea came from. I hit up Ancy. I was like, "Oh, bro, can I use that track as sort of like a sound check kind of thing?" He's like, "Yeah, go for it, no problem." So cool dude, definitely appreciate it, Ancy. Him and I were cool like that anyway, so it's like it was just set in stone that way. So here I go. I'm just gonna go through whatever I had. With the drums, I have my man's Joshua from down in Florida. Shout out to him. Shout out to NGM, New Generation Music. That's a dope gospel band, Haitian gospel band down in Florida. They're doing their thing right now. Crazy. Shout out to Joshy, man. This dude's phenomenal, phenomenal musician. I had him do the drums for me for this track with the idea I wanted to start with certain elements of the drums. So he started with the kick. You know what I'm saying? And also, I had Joshy do the bass as well. I was like, yo, you might as well do the bass. And he was like, all right, cool. He did that. Let me see here. You know what I'm saying? There he goes. Along with the drums. With the keys, so if we go back, so drums and bass, Joshy. Keys were again sequenced from the original Kumama track, a track that I helped Ansi with a lot with certain stuff. Again, it's just a loop of, you know, you could thank Nexus for that. That's just looping throughout the whole time. It gets to another point when another part adds in. More Nexus stuff. That's pretty much what happens when the solo comes in. That's pretty much that. Towards the part with the guitar groove, shout out to my boy Ralph MMG. He did the solo. We're gonna get to that solo in a second, but he also added these parts along with the sequence of the keyboard and such. That's what he did with that. Guitars, shout out to my boy Wolfie, who did all the guitars for this track. These were guitars that were already done for Kumama. Again, I took those elements from Kumama, from what he did for that song with Ansi, put them in here, just rearranged them a bit. You know, there's that first guitar that you hear, panned left. Then that next guitar panned right. Saying and so that's that, guitars. And then we go to the solo. Give me the solo again. Ralph MMG, phenomenal job. There's that. And then also with guitars, after the solo, you got the guitar groove again with Wolfie. That's that. Brings you that whole thing. And then you have my boy Chris, aka DJ X, Official X, who did the vocals for me. Appreciate that.
ChemDrumz, we in the building. Let's show them how we get down in Haiti, baby.
So with that, what's next? I actually ended up recording vocals myself right here at this spot with this microphone. I recorded these background vocals here just to give something to the track with some meaning. I guess it's a sound check. This is how we check our sound. So
this is how we check our sound.
Something. I guess you could call it like a mini fake chorus if you want. Did that. Shout out to Kiki. Again, shout out to Greater Purpose with Ansi Deuce. These were background vocals that she did already for Cool Mama. That I just decided that I thought it was a cool element and I wanted to keep it in there. So all that together, I just wanted to add that in there. And yeah, there you have it.
Cowbell. We got one more. Yonti tambu. That's the congas, but this is what we call. I said kick, yeah. This is how we check our sound before we perform, baby. Y'all ready? I said 1, 2, 3.
And there you have it with the track. I could go deeper with each individual track, how I mixed it. Didn't do much. I like to bust everything out. All my drums go to a bus drum. Bass is just bass. But if I had multiple bass elements, I'll bust them all into a bass bus. All my keyboard elements are bust to a keys bus. Every guitar is bust to a guitar bus. I even wanted to leave the solos as an individual instrument, so every solo part is a solo bus. And then I had the leads for Chris, the official X, going to a lead bus. And Kiki's vocals were bust out. And my vocals were bust. And yeah, with that, I just had the
ChemDrumz on the beat.
That I just wanted the ChemDrumz on the beat tag that I always usually have in the beginning. Added that in there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. With that, kick, you can see here, just high pass, nothing much. I didn't even do anything to it. Same thing with the Kale, crazy high pass. The snare. Here's a plugin that I could put you guys on. It's called Silencer by a company called Black Salt Audio. Definitely get that if you're trying to get a good gate. I mean, honestly, any gate would work well, but this one works pretty good for snares. It's like this part right here during this roll. Play it again. If I took it off, so the idea is with a gate, you actually want it to be way better than what it was before. So there's top. I mean, way better. Same thing with the snare bottom. Silencer. Using this feature, the bottom snare part. I had this ghost in there. There's some reason why I had that pressed in. But for ghost notes, just in case, if I take it off, and then yeah, again with the snare top, I just have an SSL channel. If you don't know me by now, I am a waves guy. I just happen to stick with waves. They just have everything. So typical EQ for a snare, some high end. Give it some punch around 200. Get that, that meat off the snare, and roll off a little before that or below that a little bit, and compress it a little bit. yeah, it's that's how I get that. And then after that, I'll use standard clip just to clip it a little bit. And there you go. That's the snare top, snare bottom. Same idea. EQ after the silencer plugin. EQ again. Give it some sizzle here. Roll it off. Important thing with snare and top and bottom, you want to use your polarity just to get you that, sound and whatnot. And yeah, another standard clip again. A lot of stuff I try to keep simple and, very consistent too with a lot of stuff. Silencer again with the toms. SSL channel. Josh recorded some very good drums. So they were pretty well recorded. And it's Tom 3. Here we go. Same thing. SSL channel. There I'm mimicking as if I'm recording on an actual analog board in a sense. So it's like you got the knobs or whatnot and stuff. Could I have EQ'd the tom with this? Yeah, I could have easily. But doing it this way, it gives it a kind of sound and a little bit of texture too. By what percentage? Probably nothing crazy, but it's a good feel. You know what I'm saying? Overheads left and right, pretty much the same. Just crazy high passes going on both of them. This one's a little bit furthermore. Don't know why it's like that, but it's like that. And you got your typical cowbell and whatnot. Also, the percussion was provided by Joshy as well. So shout out to him for sampling these in. You can hear the sample of it. So that's all the percussion going behind with the drums. Forgot to mention the Kylie symbol. Yeah, I didn't forget to mention it. I did. Yeah, high pass, nothing crazy. Yeah, these are all percussive tracks. These are tracks that Auntie had for Cool Mama. I did not include them in this track. I just wanted it to be raw. I didn't want too much percussion going on. I wanted it to be straight raw, like just drums, bass, guitars, keys, things like that. That's all I wanted. You have what you call our click, which is Creole. They call it a kata. Don't ask me why they call it that, but and this is like a makeshift kata I had to do to make it sound like this. If I take it off, it's a rim shot. It's a rim shot. I just made it dull so it's not too much in the mix and whatnot. Bass, channel EQ, stock Logic compressor, and I ended it off with a limiter just to limit it, keep it, a limiter just keeps stuff, can't go past anywhere as far as volume. So yeah, keys is nothing much I did here with the keys at all. I don't tend to really EQ much of my keys unless there's some kind of rumble I don't want, so I'll do a high pass here, low cut. And the same thing here. In some places I didn't do them. So this sound out, it was too much high, so I gave it a high cut, low pass on this end sound during the guitar groove for keys. Guitars all bust out to one bus, whereas they're all being low cut, high passed. Don't think I did too much. Maybe some compression on each individual guitar. Yeah, looks like it. And then they all getting bust out to the main compressor, CLA 3A. And yeah, you'll notice on all these tracks, because I was trying to get the live field, the live feel. All of them had the Space Designer stock Logic reverb with a preset of on stage. I kind of wanted to give that feel of, you know, so if you do hear the heavy reverb on all the drums, that's why. It's something I think about now if I should have done that, if I needed to do that. I may have done stuff more differently, but you know, it was a decision. It seemed to work all right. It's one of those hit or miss, but it's not detrimental to the mix like that. I think it becomes personal in a sense to taste. So there's that. And then yeah, typical EQing here, and I like to use a Manny EQ on most of my vocals, if not all of my vocals, if that. Let me see, what did I do here? For Chris's, I didn't. This is mostly all stock EQ. For him, I didn't do much. It's compressor, stock compressor, 1176 type compressor, and an LA2A type compressor, which is an opto. 1176 is more of a FET. And then I use waves for the de-essing on his vocals. De-essing helps because sometimes, you know,
We call, I said kick, yeah.
you know, it kind of tames that high end of the, they call that the sibilance of a vocal, the S's and T's and C's and SH's and all that stuff. Anything that requires in it, that's why they call it a DS, to de-escalate, de-S, the S's in a sense. So yeah, I wanted this effect for Kiki's background vocals. I didn't want it too much in the way of the mix, so that's why I put the high cut there. Same thing with the background vocals. Yeah, did that, and that's about it. This is how we get to the sound check for Let It Walk.
Check. In Creole, we say, quitte le boulet, quitte le marché, c'est.
Alright, so definitely want to thank you guys for watching this video. Definitely appreciate it. Let me know in the comments if you want me to go more in depth with each track. Let me know if you want me to do each track as far as a breakdown of the song. Also, let me know if you want me to go way more in depth with the plugins and the mixing and all of that stuff, you know, things like that, because I know that stuff I'm usually interested in as well. So type that in the comments. As they always say on YouTube, if you like what you saw, give me a like. If you want to see more, as they always say, make sure you subscribe to the channel so we can see more. And then, you know, yeah. With that, I'm gonna sign out here. Just let it walk.